Hello, welcome everybody here from Build 2016 together with my colleague Alan Lepofsky. Hi Alan.
Hi everybody.
It was day one today of a well-attended conference, usual 5,000 people back here in Moscone West. And we were treated to a keynote with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, who walked on with no announcement, right?
Yeah, there was no like voice announcing him. It was like the lights came up and Satya was there.
Yeah.
Well, this is exciting for me. This is my first Build developer conference. I followed your notes from last year, but I normally attend, collaboration and social business events. So it's fun to be at a developer conference.
And especially they had a lot of things which are interesting related to your usual research, right? Because you're not a hardcore coder, not that I'm a hardcore coder.
I am not a coder. I'm here to cover collaboration tools. And well, that means that I guess that's a big part of what today was about. So why don't we dive in? I think the first major topic from this year's Build conference was what Satya Nadella announced as conversations as a platform. CAAP, because the world needs another as a platform. But really what this is getting into is the idea that, you think about how user interfaces are going away. People talk to their phones. They say, Google Now, Cortana, Siri, and they ask a question and it answers back.
Yep.
So instead of having an application that you click on and information that you type in, your voice and no sort of interface is becoming the way to interact with things. It's a conversation. You and a bot having a conversation, and that's where things start to happen. Stocks get looked up, weather gets looked up.
Or you and a human and it's augmented, right? We could be talking about here in San Francisco, where would we go eating tonight?
Yeah.
And there could be a bot plugged in from, who's like, what's the popular restaurant, Open Table. I don't know if they have done, don't start any rumors, but the Open Table bot could be in our conversation in Skype.
Well, what if it heard you and I talking right now and said, Holger, should we go for dinner at 6 o'clock tonight? Right. And all of a sudden a bot popped up.
So I would like to say, Holger, you haven't really worked out since 3 days. You really should skip dinner or should have a healthy dinner. That would be a great service.
I want the bot to work out for me. That would be a great service.
That would be even better.
Yeah. All right. So conversations as a platform, it's a huge thing for Microsoft. They're looking at building it into Cortana, into Skype, into Bing search, into Outlook, like everything, Office groups, like this whole idea of his intelligence and conversations as a platform are going to be big. What does it mean for developers? What do they need to know?
Well, the good thing is it was the most coherent day one keynote that I've ever seen for Microsoft here, because often it was different topics and just the Microsoft logo tied together. This was really all about enabling the developers to build these conversations as a service. And Microsoft did a pretty good job of that, because when developers hear about these next generation applications, they usually are a little bit scared because they always involve artificial intelligence, right? I know the Microsoft stack, but I'm not an AI guy. They use predictive analytics, machine learning. I'm not that. I'm not a data statistician. So how can I enable this? And the code examples at least was 2 lines, right, to get to build a bot, right, chatbot. So good news is the framework to build these chatbots and build the applications is available as of today, so developers can get their hands dirty in the code and build these next generation applications.
Yeah, so they released the Microsoft Bot Framework Toolkit. Now it's interesting. Bots are very popular, but they're actually nothing new. Bots have been around 10, 15 years. You've been able to go into a chat window and type, stock Microsoft, and it would return the stock. But all of a sudden they're hot again. And I think it is significantly different. I think now everything is hosted in the cloud. These are not on-premises servers. These are web services that are available. They're returning information. I think people are more used to interacting in a text metaphor. Maybe not so much in North America, but for example, in Asia, today everything happens via instant messaging. You do financial transactions, you order clothing online, you text to your cab company and things show up. Everything happens in that command line.
I had the experience myself last year in summer when I was staying in London. The only way to get a hotspot from a certain provider, which was the best one, was via WhatsApp.
Okay.
So I did the whole transaction through WhatsApp, got it delivered, including credit card. I don't know how safe that was or not.
Okay.
Different story. But in a more transparent way and more in a conversational way, because if we think about it, how business gets done or interaction gets done, we're having a conversation right now. It's not about going back to the app and bring out, oh, Al wants to talk about dinners. Let's look up the website really quick here. And I don't see the website, right? So that's a really interesting thing where it's coming together. And it's an opportunity for Microsoft. The interesting Nadella said, right, at least the quote said, I didn't hear him saying that, but the quote in one of the articles said, he said it's the end of apps.
Okay, well, it's interesting. The other day, it's a somewhat common saying, but I said the new UI is no UI.
Correct.
And, so the ability for our voice to start to become the way that we enter information. Now, of course, there's going to be times where voice is inconvenient, and typing and pen gesturing on their Surface tabs, all sorts of different ways of doing things. But in short, I think this is an exciting step forward. I think there's great usefulness for productivity for people, and I'd say it's an opportunity for developers to go build things.
It's a huge disruption, right? Nadella said it might be more of a disruption than previous platform changes, right? Because the whole way, you don't have this whole application where you log in, get to it, you automatically contributed, logged in, provisioned by something in the background, and it's a conversation you do with something, right? Because the whole thing which I think tricks it is the speech voice recognition, which has made tremendous advantage, right? I have a dark voice, hopefully you can hear me. I mumble on top of that. I've almost no accent on top of that. And Google Now, which I use on my Android phone, understands me. I can even switch language between German and English, and that has never happened before. I always tried that before, right? It was Dragon Natural Speaking, and you would train half an hour, and it was pretty good too. And now I can do this with Hey Google on my Android device. Siri does the same. They use the same technology. They use neural networks behind that. Last year, they shared already their 30, 40 levels deep neural networks. That's how they learn all the different nuances, all the different mumbling, the way that I say a more German R than regular R and so on. So that's how they learn from that. Microsoft did not share how Cortana does it. Interesting.
It'll be neat. Well, I think to wrap up this section, then we'll move on to another. I think for me, again, not being the developer, it was very easy for me to walk away with what the developer opportunity was. Two things. There's, I forget the exact number, 1 billion users of Office out there, whatever the number is. But so for developers to be able to tie into existing Microsoft Office customers and build things, there's 250 million Windows 10 users already. So to be able to tie into Cortana. And then the bigger opportunity, and I loved this analogy, is Satya said, look, every company now has a website. You go to their website, you interact, you buy things, you do things. Well, maybe every company's going to need a bot. So that's such an easy metaphor to think about. Companies used to never have websites. We 20 years ago went off and built them. Now companies don't have interactive bots or concierges or anything. Maybe 5 years from now, every company's going to need a bot. So developers, get out there and build it.
It might be very strange in 5 years from now to say, where's the website for that?
Exactly. All right. Well, how about topic number 2? To shift gears a little bit, for me, one of the most tangible and physically exciting things was HoloLens. Everybody's talking about virtual reality, South by Southwest this year. That's all anybody wanted to do.
You're looking at it here now? No. Okay, just kidding.
Yeah,
it's a little bigger.
In virtual reality, we'd be the same height. So this is actual physical reality because there we go. So, but Facebook went off and spent billions on Oculus Rift. Now Microsoft has HoloLens. They sort of introduced it last year, but
Google
today
has Cardboard.
There you go.
A very cheap approach to it, but it works equally very well.
So today, what Microsoft announced is the first shipping version of HoloLens. They showed some incredible examples. People think this is gimmicky or they think it's for video games. No. Live on stage, they had doctors training med school students in virtual reality 3D images of anatomy lessons. You could see where the heart, where the kidneys, and where the intestines go. They moved up to the brain. They could see the neural pathways through the brain and walk around and see what was going on. They could also do collaboration, though. They had a virtual instructor appear inside the holographic environment, and that instructor wasn't there physically with them. He was off in another city and was able to teach students. How amazing is that?
It's very amazing because it changes the way how we do business, how we learn, how we get educated, which always is unity of place and action, right? Now Al and me are in the same place, but most of our professional life we're not, right? How can we collaborate? And here's the most important thing to learn. It's this gesture. Because that's how you move HoloLens applications.
Just make things bigger and
so
smaller.
remember this, you start on no, you tap it and you move it.
Okay.
So that's the thing, you saw it here first, right? Remember this one.
Well, we have our live demo coming up soon, but they showed lots of amazing examples. They showed NASA using it in the International Space Station to fix parts. They had engineers back at Mission Control looking through HoloLens. They had the astronauts on the ISS looking through HoloLens, and they taught each other how to fix things. They showed Lowe's Hardware having customers build virtual reality kitchen renovations. What were some of the other examples? Engineers and architects looking at patterns.
Lots of interesting examples where augmented reality helps in the collaborative setting or the work setting in general. Right?
Well,
and the difference is many of the examples remind me of the Google Glasses things, which we saw a few years ago. The difference is this is not a partner device, an assistant device. It's a fully standalone PC, right? It's an Intel, I think, 5 or 7 processor, has 3 hours battery life, as they say, 64 gigabytes of RAM. So it's a PC which runs by itself on your head.
Okay, so it's a head PC.
It's a head PC.
The ultimate wearable, I guess.
The ultimate wearable.
I think from my collaboration standpoint, my coverage area, one of the most interesting things was the integration of HoloLens and Skype.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wearing a HoloLens inside your virtual reality environment, you bring up a Skype messenger, and all of a sudden you're having a Skype conversation with people in virtual reality where you can overlay them on top of conference rooms or whatever you happen to be doing, building plans, looking at 3D engineering drawings, whatever, but you have Skype conversations. And so I can't wait to play around with that. That I think is going to be one of the most interesting things for me.
My personal prediction playing with last year was actually everybody who works at home has an extended screen, right? You can never have enough real estate in that, right? With HoloLens, you just move windows everywhere we can look at, right? So you can put your whatever, you look at your calendar once an hour, it's behind you. It's behind you, right? So it's on a different place. So every Windows window becomes a separate movable part. So it will change productivity very much.
It's funny, computers like Windows PCs and Apple PCs have had virtual desktops for years,
right.
And you could get rid of the clutter. No one uses them. Nobody I know uses them. It would be really interesting just to move apps out of my peripheral vision, turn around, get the things that I need, etc. So anyway, I think it's going to be really, really neat. So
off to topic number 3.
Topic number 3, we want to talk about sort of the AI sort of thing. Yep. So cognitive services, so intelligence. We mentioned it a little bit about bots and things like that, but intelligence goes beyond just question and response. Intelligence is all about figuring things out for you. So things like voice recognition, pattern recognition in images, speech detection.
Figuring out my mood right now.
Yeah, what's my emotion? Am I happy? Am I sad? So we've been hearing a lot of this. Microsoft's not the only vendor in this space doing it. IBM is obviously big with IBM Watson. Google is doing it with TensorFlow. There's others. But Microsoft, it's great to see them doing it because what they're going to be able to do is tie into, again, those billion Office users.
Right.
Imagine the intelligence that could go through your calendar, your Skype conversations, your email, your Yammer conversations, all of that, and start to tell you things like, the examples they showed is, I promised I would get back to somebody by Friday, but I forgot to do it. So all of a sudden Cortana pops up and says, Holger, you owe me something. So our boss, Ray, if you're out there, I don't want you using this feature. So it won't work for you at all. But things like scanning your email for upcoming calendar invites and putting them on your calendar and booking travel time to get you to them. All these things, sort of, we haven't said the phrase, but personal digital assistants.
That's what they coin as one of their key pillars.
There you go. So digital assistants. So I have a lot of research coming out on this sort of intersection of artificial intelligence and collaboration. Holger will know about it, far more technically than me from sort of the platform and building application side. Well, you're the API guy. I'm just the fun calendar guy. So
the good news is that the SDK for HoloLens and for the API artificial intelligence is also shipping. It's a developer conference, so you can build these things in, again, a very easy way. Like we said before, it's very important that these developers don't get scared. They build mobile applications, maybe they build Windows tech stack application on SQL Server and so on for Azure. So they're not the typical AI developers, and it's very easy for them to build. Again, very common in the industry where it's moving to.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap things up. I think
the key thing from my side, which was there today, is UWP, the Universal Windows Platform, which extends across not just the Windows devices, but also to iOS and Android. We'll learn more about that tomorrow in regards of the mobile side. We already know that Microsoft acquired Xamarin, so we can kind of like give that away. But that's really how Microsoft is trying to get the developers on board to build applications. They can't win them anymore for Windows Mobile. It's the first time that on the day one there was no talk about hardware at all. There was no Windows phones there. There was no Nokia there. There was no Windows 10 new upgrade and so on. No, there's one platform, and that one platform is what Microsoft is telling developers to develop on our platform. You'll be so much more productive as you bring it to the other ones.
I'm going to be cynical. I think in the 20 years I've been in IT, I think I may have heard that write once, run everywhere story before, but I'll leave it up to you to sort of cover this for the next year, and you'll tell us if it works.
The big announcement today was that you can run your Windows 10 applications now on the Xbox. Right? There's a number of very powerful engine. You build it there, it runs on the Xbox. So trying to build this ecosystem of millions and millions of devices, 270 Windows 10.
Okay,
Upgrades, right?
so while I'm playing Halo, I can get calendar notifications about upcoming meetings.
Or you extend Halo because you think it's so cool,
Okay.
and you can run it on offices, laptops, somewhere. You can run your mobile phone. You never have to stop the game while you commute, and you get rich.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to each cover the topics we talked about in a lot more detail coming
That's
up.
right.
So today was just sort of an overview. Let's review really quickly. Conversations as a platform.
Mhm.
HoloLens
Yep.
and artificial intelligence or cognitive computing, Cortana and AI,
Right.
bringing Bing and Office together and all of these things. Tomorrow will be day 2. We'll be back with another recap. Holger, it's been a pleasure being at my first build. Thank you for showing me around.
Always good to be here with you.
Okay,
Thanks
well,
for
thank you,
watching.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.